Diablo 4 is just a few days away, so here are my final 10 tips that I learned just from playing the beta. How to kill the Butcher when your character is very weak. Your first option is to kite him. Now, this isn't possible with every character, and it isn't possible in every dungeon, but some dungeons have rooms with either pillars in them that you can run around in circles, or like a fence. Like this one right here, I managed to kill the Butcher using a level 1 blizzard. Just me running around in circles, throwing a bunch of blizzards. Another more reliable option is to not just focus on AoE and offensive skills. Make sure that if you're doing dungeons that you can tank and sustain and move around and deal single target damage. And remember, you can switch out your skills mid-fight. And of course, playing on World Tier 1 really helps as well. When it comes to settings, everyone talks about turning on the advanced tooltips and the compare in the menu and using force moves so you don't accidentally start attacking when you're trying to run. But there are two settings I haven't seen anyone else talk about. First one being, for the sake of your dopamine, turn off the loot sound for all loot except legendary. The second setting that I think is underrated is using hotkeys for your wheel. Instead of having to bring up the wheel and go through the different tabs to find the specific thing you're looking for, you can bind all of the wheel buttons to different hotkeys. And you can place your elixirs in the wheel. This means you can have a hotkey to use an elixir. Now, I don't know about you, but using an elixir every 30 minutes is obviously very optimized because you get more experience when you have one active, but I kept forgetting to use it until I put my elixirs on a hotkey button. It became way more accessible and it quickly turned into a habit to just keep clicking that button to drink an elixir every once in a while. And this way you can time your emotes for that comedic timing. Look! You can view nearby players' gear. Maybe someone in town looks really cool and you want to see what they're wearing. Maybe you're doing an open world event together and they were just destroying everything. Or maybe you're waiting for the world boss to spawn and you want to check out what your fellow teammates around you have got going for them in terms of gear. I feel like this next one is pretty obvious, but I keep seeing streamers and people just not use this feature. It's so handy. You can right-click on the map to set a pin. And this works in fog for areas you haven't even been yet. Speaking of things I've seen people not realize is that you can use waypoints at any time to anywhere. Like, you don't have to teleport back to town to then use a waypoint. You can be out in the wilderness, open your map and just click on any waypoint and you'll fast travel there. You can edit your chest tabs to keep your gear organized, changing colors, logos, the names. I really enjoyed this feature. Navigating your skill tree can be quite confusing, but it really helps to use the keywords to find synergy in your build. But for example, if you're looking for skills that stun, sometimes the only keyword you have is crowd control, which covers a bunch of different skills, but stun is included in that. So it will still help you in finding the stun effect faster. And if you want to respec just one skill point without refunding your entire skill tree, just right click to undo one point. A bonus tip to know is that stats for your character add different bonuses depending on what class you're playing. So make sure you hover over your stats to know which stat you want to prioritize. There are 5 different categories of legendary aspects: defensive, offensive, resource, utility, and mobility. And depending on the category, it goes in a specific gear slot. Now, all you need to know is how to look them up in the game. Simply look at the icons that show which item types you can use it in. There's a few ways to restock your potions: random drops from monsters, reaching certain thresholds on bosses, and leveling up restores all of your potions, and so does health wells and the healer in town. If you hover over an item in your inventory, there's a hotkey to mark that item as junk. This doesn't do anything other than when you go to a vendor and right click on one of the junk items, all junk items will be sold immediately, which can save you a bit of time. Same goes for the blacksmith, who has a salvage all junk button. Finally, you can pet dogs and cats by greeting them using the emote from the wheel. Besides those 10 in-game tips, I gotta ask you, do you have your food prep ready? Are you taking care of your health leading up to this game launch? Have you told your loved ones that you're gonna be busy this upcoming week? And hey, remember, when you're playing, every toilet break you take is a good opportunity to grab some extra water, some snacks, and during all the cutscenes, I like to stand up because we're really not meant to be sitting down for that long. And I just want to take a second to say thank you. I made this channel randomly for fun as a side project because I was just tired of watching 20-minute videos about Diablo 4, and it seems like a lot of you have been resonating.